Alright guys, what's going on? Welcome in. So first things first, shout out to Boy Green over on Twitter. He shared this little segment from ESPN where Adam Schefter dove into the latest news and rumors surrounding this whole Haason Reddick situation. And he reported that it doesn't seem like there's an end in sight. He also says that there has not been a lot of progress there and talks have completely stalled on a new deal. And the roadblock here, according to Schefter, and this is something that we've heard before, it's that the Jets will only negotiate with Haason Reddick if he's in the building. And Reddick is only showing up if he gets his new deal. Now, this whole like being in the building, you must be in the building, that whole thing is kind of weird in my opinion. Now, I don't know if that's just, are the Jets taking that literal, like literal, right, where Reddick needs to actually just be at one Jets drive and that's all it takes? Or is it, you know what, he needs to be in the building, he needs to be practicing. We got to see at least a couple practices for, with Reddick and an urgency there, and then we're gonna, start moving in the right direction as far as getting a deal done. Is it that, or is it just Reddick physically needs to be inside the Jets building? Because if it's that choice, I mean, this is just so stupid in my opinion. Like, if that's what this whole holdup is about, like the Jets will only negotiate. It has to be more than that, right? It has to be. And again, I'm just assuming here because this is taking literally over a month. This is the longest holdout in Jets history, longer than the Revis one. And Reddick has lost, I believe, over $4 million up to this point. And also, we got the regular season right around the corner. So if Reddick keeps on missing days, not only is it just an extra 50K, but daily, but he's missing practices. He's missing opportunities to work with coaches, work with teammates, get into football shape, experience contact, right? So again, I'm assuming here that the Jets want to see Reddick, show, okay, you know what, I'm here, I'm ready to go, I'm ready for the start of the season. Let me get a couple practices under my belt, and then the Jets will open up their doors in a sense and say, all right, let's work something out here. As opposed to, like what I'm imagining is like Woody Johnson and Joe Douglas almost pouting to a certain degree and just like, oh, if he's not here, we're not going to negotiate with him. My kind of opinion on the matter, let's just get something done. There's a reason why the Jets traded for him. There's a reason why the Jets let all of these pass rushers walk out the building. Reddick is the best pass rusher on the team right now. I think Jermaine Johnson could challenge him this year as far as like a statistical, battle is concerned. But because just imagine, right? News comes out right now that Haason Reddick is signing a 1-year extension, or the Jets are giving him more guaranteed money, whatever it is. They come to a solution this year. Are you going to be excited or are you going to be disappointed? I feel the majority of Jets fans are going to be like, let's go, right? Another positive step here. We got the biggest dark cloud gone. The biggest distraction is now gone. We can now focus on the 49ers, who are dealing with their fair share of, news stories, which I'm going to be kind of diving into in a little bit. Maybe in the next couple of days to see, how things are progressing there. But as far as this Reddick thing, my advice would be, I guess the question that I would ask, what's the greater good? What's the ultimate goal here? Reddick is a really good pass rusher. The Jets really want Reddick. Let's find a solution. Personally, if I was Joe Douglas, I would be actively trying to get this done. By no means am I saying, desperately beg, oh, Reddick, you want a 4-year deal? Here you go. You want $30 million a season? Here you go. Absolutely not. No. But I do feel as though if you're in the seat of a general manager, right, if you're in that position, you could be working the phones. The ultimate goal here is getting Haason Reddick to show up and be a part of this football team. Look, if it requires Joe Douglas to maybe negotiate a contract on Zoom, or over the phone, or on FaceTime, or, not of course, ironing out every single detail, but trying to maybe meet Reddick in his camp halfway. If that's what it takes, then let's just do it. Let's work for the greater good here and get this dude under contract, because this whole situation has been such a weird mess ever since it went down, or maybe a week after it went down. I was thinking that the signing was going to, the the reworked deal or the potential extension was going to get done in March. In March, we're just over a week out from the start of the regular season, and again, according to Schefter, there's no end in sight here. Not a good sign. Personally, this is what I would do. This would be my solution, which I feel like would be good for the New York Jets and would also be good for Reddick. So first things first, I'm maxing out his guaranteed money, $14.25 million. From that point, I'm adding 2 incentives into the contract. The first incentive, 7 sacks, $6 million bonus, jumping that 14.25 up to 20. Say Reddick reaches that number, 7 sacks, and gets that extra $6 million, and he's right around that 20.25. He would be the 13th highest paid pass rusher in the game. Beyond that 7 number, right? That 7 sack number. If Reddick gets to 13, he would get another $5 million bonus. So, or $5 million incentive, right? A jump in his contract, totaling to $25.25 million, which would put Reddick at the 5th highest paid edge in the game from an annual standpoint. And again, it would just be this one season. I think it makes sense because if Reddick records 13 sacks for the New York Jets next season, it's going to be a fantastic year, and he should be paid like a top 5 guy, right? From an annual basis. And then from Reddick's standpoint, I think it makes a lot of sense, A, because he gets guaranteed money. So if Reddick steps on the field and steps on the practice field and gets hurt, he's actually paid something for the season. Number 2, you're adding that incentive goal, and that first incentive is relatively, in Reddick's mind, he's probably looking at 7 sacks like, yeah, that's doable. I can get 7 sacks. I've got double digit over the last 4 seasons, individually. Reddick is one of the best pass rushers in football. In his mind, he's probably thinking, I can get to that 7, but you know what? I got to start preparing. I got to start practicing. I got to start making sure I'm ready to earn that extra $6 million. And then if I could potentially duplicate one of these seasons that I've had in the previous 4, and I can get up to 13, now I get an extra 5. Now I am a top 5 highest paid edge. And then at that point, if Reddick records 13 sacks, and the Jets want to, I would assume that the team is pretty good and the defense is pretty good. Maybe they open up talks for an extension at that point, right? After the two parties have already, mended. Or if Joe Douglas still doesn't want to sign him to the extension, they just let him walk. And you just kind of look at the trade like, all right, this was a 1-year rental type of situation. The only issue with this whole thing is the cap space that the Jets currently have, which is just over $6 million, just under $7 million, somewhere in that range. So, how, as far as, acquiring a player at the deadline and you're taking on money, that could be a little weird because you only have so much money to play around with. But that would be kind of my framework for a contract, right? Fully guarantee the 14, because $14 million for Haason Reddick is a joke. That would make him, I think, the 21st highest paid edge rusher in football, and he is so much better than the 21st best rusher. Anyway, let me know your thoughts down below. Thanks so much, and as always, go Jets.